So welcome to today's class. It is on quality of service in 5G, how quality of service is managed in 5G system. So the content for today is big. We'll try to cover to the extent possible. Whatever is left, we'll cover in the next session. So we'll talk about PDU session and quality of service flow, which we had already seen in our earlier presentation when we did 5G core to some extent. And then we will understand what is the 5G quality of service architecture, how quality of service is managed in 5G. And then we'll go slightly deep into what is default quality of service flow, what is guaranteed bit quality of service flow, and then what is quality of service rule, what is quality of service profile, what is SDF template. There are a lot of terminology and the name, and how quality of service and network slice are related. We'll also talk about various quality of service types and various parameters which define quality of service. What is alternate quality of service profile, and what is 5QI characteristics? What is 5QI? 5QI is 5G quality of service indicator or ID. And then there are certain standard value of 5QI we will discuss, that is given in the specification. We'll show you, and that is also in the document which I have shared. And then we'll compare with 4G, how quality of service was being managed in 4G and how it is being managed in 5G. So with this content, let's try. And this document I have already shared, 3GPP-TS 23.501. So the quality of service aspect or QS model is given in this document. It's a very good document you can read. And if you do not want to read this, at least read the PDF which I have given, because that's a compilation from this document and also from some white papers and some articles. So this we have seen, this diagram we have seen, and then let me take the pen option. So this we had already seen earlier, that the user plane traffic flows from UV to Z node B to UPF to data network, and a PDU session is created for this purpose. So PDU session is nothing but a series of connection from UV to Z node B to UPF to data network, and onto this PDU session all the data traffic flows. So the quality of service in 5G is managed at the QS flow levels. As we understand that there is a PDU session for a data traffic, and within the PDU session I'll have various QS flow. So the lowest level of quality of service granularity, the lowest granularity is QS flow in 5G. And then every quality of service will be identified by an ID called QFI, quality of service flow ID, quality of service flow ID identifier. So QFI, please remember this will come again and again. So QFI is nothing but quality of service flow ID, which identifies a particular quality of service. And then how this quality of service flow will be mapped to different part of the network. For example, there is an air interface, then there is a network beyond that. So onto the radio side, this quality of service flow will be mapped to DRB. So DRB is nothing but data radio bearers. We'll talk about that. And so this is different from 4G, we will discuss later. So now this diagram also we have seen earlier, that for one UV there can be, so whenever that UV goes active, a PDU session will be created for it, at least one PDU session will be created for it, and depending upon what kind of traffic it want to handle, different type of quality of service flows will be added to. But one point to note here, that when it latches for the first time, a default QS flow is added. default QoS flow is added. The first thing which will get added is the default QoS flow, and that default QoS flow will remain till this life of PDU session, right? So as we had seen that initially a default QoS flow will be added, and then depending upon different services it want to access, different quality of service flows will be added to it, and every quality of service flow will have its own unique characteristics in terms of latency, in terms of priority, etc., whether it's a guaranteed bit rate or it is a non-guaranteed bit rate. So based on that characteristics there is a QFI value given to it. So if a QFI value is a particular number, then all parameters are already predefined into the network. So one PDU session, the point here is that one PDU session may have many quality of service flow, which is the lowest granularity of the data traffic which flows onto the 5G network. Now this is an important diagram, so I'll try to explain. Please give attention. I have also given source from where this picture has been taken. This picture is also there in the specification document, but that is in a black and white, so I thought I should take it from other sources which is available. So just see here, this is your UE or the mobile device, this particular, and then you have radio RAN which is called G node B, and then you have UPF, and beyond this you have data network DN, which connects here on N6 interface. This is your radio interface. So whenever UE goes active and want to access data, a PDU session gets created. PDU session gets created. So if somebody can recall which network function creates or modifies a PDU session, anybody can answer this? In a 5G network, yes, somebody has replied SMF, you are right. So SMF is responsible for creation, deletion or modification of PDU session. So a PDU session is created, which is shown here in the yellow color. Yes, Hemendra also said SMF, good. Creates a PDU session. Now as I said that one PDU session will have at least one quality of service, which is default quality of service, and there could be more than one quality of service depending upon what services the UE is accessing to. So onto the radio part, here we have shown three QoS flows, QFI1, QFI2 and QFI3. So these are just example, don't consider that QFI1 is some name, so numbering is different, but just for example, suppose there are three QFI. Onto the radio side, onto the radio interface side, normally what resource we have on the radio side? Can somebody tell me what is the actual resource which it will get allocated? Can somebody tell me? Yes, so resource element. So you will have a grid. We have understood, no, grid. That grid is nothing but 1 millisecond in time and number of subcarrier depending upon how much bandwidth we have. So there is a resource grid for this, and out of this resource grid certain resources will be and every individual resource is called RE. Certain resources will be allocated uh, uh, for a particular quality of service flow, or so basically that resource here it is called DRB. The blue color which you see here is DRB, data radio bearer, name is given here. So data radio bearer is nothing but set of some resources, set of some resources. So this is a data radio bearer. So now whatever data radio bearer is allocated, it can support either one QoS flow or it can support more than one QoS flow. So in the same PDU session, what we see is that for QoS flow 3, another DRB is allocated. So that means another set of resources, radio resources are allocated where QS flow 3 is flowing. So onto radio side, I can have at least one DRB, and there could be more than one DRB. In our case, there are two DRB. We also see here that one DRB can handle either one QS flow or even more than one QS flow, depending upon the requirement. So this is on air interface part. On now from, if you recall, you had UE, then you had G node B. So this we have covered, and after that you have UPF. So between G node B and UPF, actually a tunnel is created. A single tunnel is created. This is shown in slightly gray color. So this is a tunnel. So between G node B and UPF, a single tunnel per PDU session. For every PDU session, there is a tunnel, and the tunnel is common, and within that tunnel, these QoS flows are identified and required resources. So here, I mean, from G node B to UPF, it could either be a fiber type of thing, or maybe even could be radio, but it is a kind of a transmission link, right? So there also allocation of resources here in terms of bandwidth within that tunnel will be allocated for each QoS flow. For each QoS flow, there will be a certain resources allocated here based on QFI. What is the quality of service ID given, and then system knows that for a particular QFI what resources is to be given. So this is your this is what is your UPF, and this tunnel is called GPRS tunneling protocol. So here the protocol which is used is called GPRS tunneling protocol, and this is N3 interface, we all know, right? From G node B to UPF, it's N3 interface, and this is user interface. So any question on this slide before I move? Yeah, please. Yeah, so very good question, sir. So as we had seen that uh, uh, the grids are kind of, suppose you are using different numerology, then your grid will be different. For example, if you are using, say, bandwidth part, you recall bandwidth part, sir? You know bandwidth part? So in bandwidth part, what we had seen is that suppose a UE is having one BWP here, one BWP here, and here I can use numerology 15 kilohertz, and here maybe I can use 30 kilohertz. And as we know, for every numerology there is a separate grid. So that means UV resources can be allocated to a UV in different grid also, depending upon such scenario. Am I clear, or? Okay, okay. So very good question. Any other question which anybody may have? Yeah. So for every PDU session, I said one PDU session, not five. One PDU session is for one UE. So so basically, just to understand, let me erase it. So let us start with UV. So there is one UV. So in the initial slide, I just said minimum one PDU session will be created for it, but it may be second PDU session, or it may be other PDU session also. So one you can have multiple PDU session. For each PDU session, there will be a tunnel, common tunnel. This tunnel will be for per PDU session, there will be a tunnel. Is it okay or okay, fine. Any more question? Right. No, they are not network slices. They are only the quality of, so basically when data traffic flows onto the network, so the data traffic, so let me tell you one example. Suppose a UE is doing a voice call, and then one UE is doing a internet YouTube kind of a service. So in this case, there are three things happening. One is, if you see YouTube, it is an internet service, so default QoS flow. So maybe a QFI, which is default QoS flow, which is allocated initially, can be used. For voice call, I need a GBR, guaranteed bit rate, kind of a QFI. So for this UE, in the same PDU session, two QoS flow, suppose this one and this two is allocated, and it is in the same, here's concept of slice has not yet come, right? So because in the same, you can consider the entire 5G network, for example, as a single slice, and then it is happening within that. But operator can actually do different slicing for different services. If the operator has different slices for different service, then of course, but in those slices, then PDU session will be differently handled. Am I clear or should I repeat? So for time being, let us assume that, uh, so two things. Your question is that whether, here there are two slices in this example, right? So that answer to that question, so three. So answer is no. So, so if I have say 10 QFI, that doesn't mean I have 10 slices. So this should be very clear that QFI is not equal to the slices, right? That is for sure. Second thing which I want to explain you, that suppose you have one slice for anything. So even within the slice, I can have more than one QFI. Is this clear? I mean, let us understand. So even within the slice, I can have more than one QFI. And is it now clear to some extent? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so shall I move to next? Okay, so this is same, basically same diagram in a different flavor which has been shown here. That here here there are, so this is UE, this is Z node B, and this is UPF, and you just read the text also. So one PDU session may have multiple QoS flow. Here, how many QoS flow is there? Every color is a QoS flow shown. So this is a QoS flow, this is a QoS flow, this is a QoS flow, and this is a QoS flow. But for all these QoS flow, there is a single tunnel between G node B and UPF, right? And the second point is one DRB can contain either one QoS flow or more than one. Here it is two, and here it is one. This is just to explain, right? Yeah, please, sir. Yeah, yeah. Very good question, sir. So slice is not required as such. basically initial deployment of the 5G network will be without any slice, and all these will happen without any slice. Slice is a kind of advanced option when the most I'll tell you one example where slice will become very important is that case of MVNO, virtual mobile operators. So suppose Airtel want to appoint a virtual mobile operator, then they can create a slice and give to that particular virtual and let them manage whatever way they want to manage completely. So that is most important example of a slice. Then suppose there is a private industry which want 5G services from one operator in a particular area. So they can create a slice for them and give completely to them to use that and manage that. So these will be the main use cases of the slices, and then certain slices will be service based, right? So the first type which I said is based on MVNO and industry. Second would be service based, and there also there will be some industry involved. For example, suppose Maruti want to serve its customer related to their car, related to their car experience. They want to also, they have chain of dealer distributor where they give service. They want to use that, so they can have a one slice from one operator across the country, wherein those vehicles will have embedded IoTs, and they will be informing to the central server, and that slice will help Maruti serve better. So that could be one kind of slice. There could be, so there will be so many use cases of the slice, but that doesn't mean that network without slice will not work. Initially all network will be without slices, and whenever there is an opportunity they will create slice and use that, right? Okay, so this diagram is in fact from uh, the specification itself, same diagram. So UE G node B, this is G node B, and then the UPF. So here it is, they have shown PDU session, and then here they have shown two radio bearer, and then QS flow, same diagram. But what I want to explain here, that there are many types of quality of service flow in 5G. The first type is a quality of service which require guaranteed bitrate, GBR. GBR is guaranteed bitrate. A QS flow with guaranteed bitrate. Can somebody give an example of GBR type of QS flow? Voice call, yes. Yes, somebody answered voice call. Any other example of it? Guaranteed bitrate, any other example? Okay, no problem. And the next type of quality of service flow, other answer is self-driving car. Yes, possible, self-driving car. Self-driving car is more of reliability, URLLC requirement, but there may be a guaranteed bit required also. The second type is non-guaranteed bitrate type. Your normal internet would be NGBR, or all the default quality of service which is established initially will be of non-GBR. And then there is a concept of delay critical GBR. Delay critical GBR, guaranteed bitrate. Can somebody tell me what is GBR is fine, guaranteed bitrate? What is delay critical? You're right, you're right, you're right. Sabita is not able to hear me correctly. Crackling sounds she is reporting. Is my voice clear to others, or it is only with? Okay, Sabita, your internet. Okay, so delay critical, you rightly answered, sir. But what parameter will be defined for delay critical? Can somebody guess that? How do I measure the requirement? Yeah. So here what happens is, so they had did what they define is that if in a particular delta time, minimum this much volume of data. say I want 30 kb in 1 microsecond or 1 millisecond, should be I mean delivered, right? So that they have, when we go through the delay critical GBR, we'll see these parameters, that what they define is that in a particular time a particular volume of data should be uh, definitely transmitted, otherwise that data will be considered as a lost. So that is a kind of a delay critical guaranteed bit rate. And this was not there in 4G. You had GBR in 4G, you had NGBR in 4G, and delay critical GBR was not there perhaps. And then you have fourth type, which is called reflective QoS. Can somebody guess what it is? What is reflective quality of service? Okay, so this is what happens. What happens that the UE receives downlink data from downlink side, and on the downlink side also onto the data a QFI is there, a quality of service is already being maintained. So what it does is that it extract from the packet what kind of QFI is applied, and it applies back the same quality of service in upload traffic. So that is called reflective quality of service. When UE decide that which QFI to map for the upload data based on the downloaded traffic, it is called reflective QoS. So any question on this slide so far? So in 5G, sir, in 5G, so as we had seen earlier that they wanted to make, first is the lean and second is the flexibility. So what do we mean by lean is that we want to reduce the signaling load so that power consumption is less. So what they have done is that instead of signaling the entire quality of service rule to UE in some cases, which require certain signaling, uh, if the device supports reflective QoS, there will be some additional requirement onto the device and also onto the network. If the network and device supports, they can use the same QoS which was applied in the downlink. So there will be not a need for network to convey all those QoS rule etc. to the device every time it want to access a particular service. So it is to make the system lean and also make the system a bit flexible. Thank you, sir. Okay. So this slide is nothing but summary of whatever I was discussing. That so one or more than one PDU session for each UE can be established, and when there is a PDU session, at least one DRB has to be associated with that, and subsequently there could be additional DRB added, right? And then so there may not be a case that there are two PDU session and common DRB. There will not be a case where there is a two PDU session but single DRB. This will not be a case. That means कि packet belonging to different PDU session will be mapped to different DRBs. And now the packet filtering which happens at UE, uh, anybody understands what is packet filtering, or should I explain? Pardon? Yeah. So basically here what packet filtering means is, suppose a UE using any service. So what will happen is, or maybe using more than one service, some internet or YouTube or voice and all. So there will be a lot of packets created which has to be sent onto the radio, right? So how this UV will separate out these IP flows and map to a particular QFI. So for that purpose, UV is provided a filter set. So it applies a filter set, and then it knows that this IP packet I'll allocate QFI 1, this IP set of IP packet I'll do QFI 2, and so on. So that is called packet filtering concept in UP. And why it is being said NAS level? All because these rules are signaled to UE by SMF through AMF on N2 interface. That means it is directly talking to SMF via AMF, of course, right? And then when we say AS level mapping, so basically these are DRB and all, right, which I talked about. Any question on this slide? You're right, sir. So maybe here question comes that if there are different slices which it want to access directly, so there will be a separate PDU session, sir. So that is one example. I don't remember other example that comes to my mind. Right. Okay. So now how those filtering takes place, which I was talking about, UV filtering and all, how those packet filtering takes place. Let us understand that. So there are two places. So here also actually nomenclature given is wrong. This is Z node B and this is our UPF. Please forgive me for this. So this is your UE, this one is UE, this is your Z node B, this is UPF. So let us first talk about download traffic. And this diagram is given in 3GPP specification, you can see. That is black and white. I have taken from some website which has done this mistake. Name they have not put correctly. So all those IP flows which is coming from data network, right? So before UPF you have DN or some applications running there. So there will be multiple IP flows, right, for different services. These are also called SDF, service data flow. Now this UPF will also have certain rules, that is nothing but filter set. So UPF is actually provided that, and then it applies those filters, and then it will segregate different IPs. If these two IPs flows require same kind of quality of service, they will club together and they will allocate a QFI corresponding to that requirement here. So onto the tunnel, depending upon the QFI value which it is assigning, it will allocate the
the requirement in downlink and uplink may be different. For example, latency requirement or guaranteed bitrate requirement for both the directions may be different. Does it apply the same QFI, or it only draws a inference of QFI to be applied? Hello.
Yeah, so is my voice clear now? Okay, let me connect the PPT set. I heard your question, let me try and answer that. Okay, so as far as I have read, it applies the same QFI. One more thing which I wanted to explain is that the reflective QoS attributes, first of all this is optional. This is completely optional, and for network as well as for the devices. In case it is supported, what happens is that in the downlink packet which is coming to it, there is an indication which is called RQA, reflective QoS attribute, right? So there is some information wherein reflective QoS is derived from the downlink part. So I'm not very sure whether the same QFI will be applied or there will be a corresponding mapping to that, but the basis is that. Is it okay, sir, for time being? Right. So I'm not very yeah. So because whatever parameter it gets, it is called RQA, reflective QoS attribute. So that means it is getting some information from the download packet, basing which it is applying a particular QFI. Whether it is same QFI which was in downlink or different, that's fully not, whatever I have read, I could not make that out. Right. Okay, so now the same thing I wanted to explain in a better way, and it is on a kind of a downlink data flow which I wanted to explain using this diagram. So here again you have UE, you have G node B, and you have UPF. So so why I am showing, so that I make it very, very clear, develop the concept, and then I go on different parameters which are mostly kind of a theoretical. So here you just see, so these are data networks. So basically this part is your, say, YouTube, internet. This is some kind of special service, maybe Netflix, or this is IMS where voice and videos are coming. So different DN. The data is coming from different DN, because in 5G you can connect multiple data network of different services. So here you see IMS. IMS normally for voice over NR. In 4G it was voice over LTE. You require an IMS. So there voice call and video call services will be there. And the Netflix could be either part of the internet, or if they have some arrangement with the operator, they can have a separate data network. And then you have all internet traffic where there is a WhatsApp video, Skype video, YouTube stream. So this is called internet PDU, this is called Netflix PDU, packet data unit, and this is called IMS PDU. So on to the UPF, as I said, there will be a filter set, that is also called SDF template, service data flow traffic, service data flow. So that's a kind of a filter set. So the UPF knows by those filters that yes, it is coming from IMS, it is coming from Netflix, it is a internet traffic. Now based on whatever logic it is given to, the UPF will mark a particular QFI. So maybe the traffic which is best effort traffic, they have applied a QFI1, which is a best effort kind of, and maybe WhatsApp video and Skype video they are able to identify, and then they are applying QFI2, and then for YouTube stream they are applying QFI. Please consider this as an example. In actual case it could be completely different. And Netflix, they have applied QFI 4. These all are happening onto the tunnel, GTU tunnel, and then your voice and video QFI 5 and QFI 6 they have allocated, because voice will require guaranteed bit rate, so separate, and video may require some other parameter, which we will see in our slides going forward. So now this was on between G node B and UPF, whatever tunnel was created. This is the allocation of resources based on QFI mapping. Now at the G node B side, when it is to be mapped to the data radio bearers, those are nothing but resources. So there they will decide that how many DRB are to be created. So in this example there is one DRB where only the QFI 1 traffic is going, which is a best effort traffic. In DRB 2 they have clubbed QFI 2, QFI 3, which was nothing but WhatsApp video, Skype video and YouTube stream. All three are clubbed here. As I said that one DRB can contain more than one QS flow. So here QS flow 2 and 3 being handled. Here it is 1 being handled on DRB2. On DRB3 you are handling only QS4, which is the Netflix, right? And on DRB4 you are handling voice call, which is QFI 5, and DRB5 you are handling 6, which is video. SDAP is nothing but a service data adoption protocol, which is a new protocol which has come in 5G between UE and G node B for these DRB mapping. And again, when it reaches to the UE, it will be able to segregate based on the filter set it has. It will be able to segregate all those IPs flows separately, and then the services is enjoyed. So any question on this slide? Yeah, so yeah, you are right. So definitely has to be synced. So I'll just explain something more on this, and then I'll proceed, so that how it is done I'll try to. So basically we all know that what you have in 5G network, you have PCF. So that PCF actually policy control functions, all control is done by it. So basically whenever there is a requirement of particular quality of service to be applied for a particular service data flow, so it sends a PCC rule to SMF. So now SMF, PCC rule will have so many parameters for that quality of service. Now SMS has to manage three things. One, it has to manage UE, quality of service. In quality of service, UE is involved, G node B is involved, and then your UPF is involved. So basically whatever information SMF sends to UE is called QS rule. It is nothing but filter set and other parameters. G node B, whatever it receives the instruction, that is called QS profile. And the UPF, sorry, it's moving. UPF, SMF gives its, we call it PDU rule, PDU rule. So here there is a filter set, here there is a filter set in addition to the parameter. So basically it's a mapping. mapping of a particular traffic to a particular QA file. But the actual resource management onto the radio has to be done by gNodeB. So it gets a QoS profile which will also have so many parameters which I'll be discussing going forward. Right? So these are kind of correlated. When there is a PCC rule for one QoS flow, all these three things are correlated. It cannot be distinct. Am I able to answer? Thank you. Okay, fine. So again, same diagram, I will not explain this, but it is same thing. I thought, many times. Okay, as I was saying, I'll just briefly touch upon this, that these are different protocols. So you have UE, you have gNodeB, then you have UTF and data network. And all of us know OSI layer and different protocols. I'll just tell you about the something new which has come in 5G. And I was also discussing that in 5G, there is a new protocol between UE and gNodeB which has come. Is called SDAP protocol, Service Data Adoption Protocol, and this is for quality of service only, QoS only, which was not there in 4G. 4G they were managing tweaking at every layer and all. So here it is this one. Okay, so this is kind of a summary of what I explained. Perhaps I should skip. You can read once. I don't know whether I have shared the PPT. I'll be sharing it. Now let us understand this diagram, and this will make many things clear. And this also I have taken from some website. I have given reference. There is an article, in fact, you can read, that will make things very, very clear. So just see here that you have UE1, UE2 and UE3. For UE1, let us understand for UE1, what happens is that when it want to access data, so one PDU session will be created. This is the PDU session created, and along with PDU session, one default QoS flow will also be located, this one. So default QoS flow in green color is allocated, and suppose it is accessing a normal internet. So this is a service data flow which is inside that quality of service flow, and this is a non-GBR because default QoS is always non-GBR. Now suddenly the UE1 have trying to access augmented reality service. So what happens is there will be an application function which is not shown here. So onto the default QoS flow which it has, it will reach out to that AR service and will request to provide that service, right? So now this AR is connected to PCF through the NEF. It will ask to provide the required resources. The PCF will be asked by application function, which is an AR application function, that UE1 want to access this AR service. Please allocate the resources. Now PCC will do what? It will make a PCC rule and send it to the SMF. And what SMF will do? SMF will create a QoS rule sent to UE, then QoS profile to gNodeB, and PDR rule to UPF. And based on all these things, system decides that for AR service, a guaranteed bitrate QoS flow is required. So they will create another DRB, allocate, they may or they may not, but in this example they are creating another DRB, and onto that DRB there is a guaranteed bit flow rate some number, which is as per the requirement for AR/VR service, and a particular service data flow will run. So here you just consider that the top SDF which is written is an AR service. Now so now as of now it has got a default QoS flow, a GBR QoS flow, and within the GBR say SDF1 is running. And again, suppose this particular user is a multitasking user, and suddenly it is trying to access some video streaming service. So it is service. So again it will request to the video streaming service that it want to avail this service. Now the VS will again connect to the PCF, and same thing will happen. So now system sees that the quality of service requirement for AR/VR and VS is same. This is just an example. So what it will do is, it will not create a different QoS flow, but add this SDF also. SDF2 is for say video streaming onto the same guaranteed bitrate QoS flow which it has. So this is how kind of resources are allocated in 5G. Okay, so up till now any question? Anyone, any question? Please go ahead. Yeah, so basically so in 5G, as I had explained, that was an example that there will be many third-party service provider who will provide different service, AR/VR service, or some kind of say location service, or whatever, or V2X service, right? So and suppose there is an UE. So initially UE is allocated a default QoS flow, so it has got some path, right? And this remains for the lifetime. This is not disconnected. So this is a permanent thing till PDU session. This default QoS flow will already be there. Now using this path, it can reach out to any of these services, and if it has already subscribed to these services and want to avail, so this particular application will know that yes, this is this has subscribed for this service, and then this will connect to the PCF to provide a particular resource required for these services. Is it clear now? Okay. Okay, fine. Any more question? Okay, so this slide is, I think I have explained it, but I'll just tell you that as I said, just to repeat, that the PCF is main responsible for providing policy control, and then from PCF it goes to SMF to implement that, and SMF creates three things: QoS rule, just see here, QoS rule, QoS profile, SDF template, or PDR rule, whatever, both it is called. Then QoS rule, what all it contains will be here. One is a filter set and which quality of service ID it has got. In addition, they will also get DNN, session number, this we will discuss meaning of this, PDU session type, UE address, these are things, right? And this goes to your UE, this is going to your mobile phone or any device. And then the QoS profile, which I said is goes to G node B. So here also there will be a QFI, which quality of service flow ID it is. What is this UE umber? I will discuss this, don't worry, these are just name. What type of this PDU session is, what is the 5QR value, what is the ARP, what is the reflective QoS, what is the maximum flow bitrate, what is the guaranteed flow bitrate, whether notification control is enabled, and so on. And the SDF template here also, which goes to UPF, is nothing but your packet data rule, reflective QoS if it is applicable, precedence, lot many things will go, right? UE address, PDN type, all these parameters are sent to UPF to manage the quality of service. So it is SMF which is controlling UE, G node B and UPF to apply a particular quality of service. So I just want all of you to remember that when SMF creates, based on PCC rule, SMF creates three things. Whenever I say QoS rule, it is to UE. Whenever I say QoS profile, it is for G node B. And whenever I say PDU rule or SDF template, it is for UPF. So once you remember this and then read the document which I have shared, there will not be any confusion, you will be able to understand better. So I hope, I think we have already crossed 1 hour. Any more question? Next I can cover in the next session, otherwise it will be overload. Yeah. Yeah. No. It is for the lifetime. So default QoS flow is for the lifetime of PDU session. It is never tiered down. And that's why in the default QoS flow, I mean the minimum set of resources are given, right? So they define in the network that what will be the default QoS flow, and that could be even based on a particular user. For example, today if you recall our Zio connection, or so they are also, I mean we subscribe to a particular data rate, right? We subscribe to a particular data rate always. So in that case they have to, that I mean, so I have not subscribed to any special service, I'm just using it for internet, right? So that means for me the default QoS, they might have defined in a way that a particular data rate, if radio resources are available, will be given to me. So the default QoS could be user specific also based on subscription. Any more questions? Okay. Which resources? So you are right. Right, sir. So basically that's what I said, that the default the QoS flow when and the DRB allocated would be so there is one more concept. One is that the QoS flow, default QoS flow is fine, and default QoS flow gets best effort resources. So if it is asking for more data, and on the best effort basis more data can be given, then the more DRB can be added. So there is no restriction that DRB cannot be added. So initial DRB in a, I mean, just understand DRB is different, QS flow is different. For initial QS flow, there will be a very, very minimum DRB, right? Very, very minimal DRB. And then we keep on adding the DRB even for the default service on a best effort basis if network is vacant and person has subscribed. So it's not that if I have subscribed for 1 Gbps, a big data pipe is always given to me. What is given to me is the bare minimum resources, right? And that is also based on scheduling, in the sense that if I'm not doing anything, those resources gets allocated. It is on scheduling basis. So every say 1 millisecond, every slot there is a scheduling period. So on that scheduling period, they decide how much radio resources are given to you based on what quality of service you have and how much data you want to avail at that point of time. So there is a lot of dynamic thing which happens. So but this is for sure that your PDU session is for lifetime, and if you have a PDU session, there will be at default QS flow, and there will be some DRB associated with that. That may be a 1 kbps or 2 kbps or 5 kbps corresponding. That is only to receive any signal or to contact any AF for any other service who is given to them. Okay. So actually I have a lot of slides, but we'll cover next time. Beyond that, it will be all theoretical perhaps, in the sense that there will be text and text. Whatever these parameters are written, we will go through that and explain in the next session, sir. This session was very important. And I would request now that kindly read the document which I have shared. I just want to tell that the document which I have shared was created by myself by taking content from the 3GPP specification, different website articles, and also the white papers. So it has gone a lot of effort in preparing that, and that I have shared with all of you. I request that you just keep reading. It's very simple language in which it is. So if you read that, a lot of things will come to you, sir. And then maybe next time when we discuss, it will be very much fruitful. You may have a lot of question, and I'll try to answer this question to the extent possible I'm able to answer. Yeah. So shall we? Yeah, sure. I'll provide the PPT. Dhirendra. So I'll definitely provide the PPT to all of you. Thank you. So thank you very much. Should we close? Shall we close? Yeah. So sir, it will start at 9:30, and the speaker had said that he can conclude that in 2 hours. Although there is a 3 hours normally, but he will be able to conclude in 2 hours. Of course, depending upon if lot of question comes, then here and there. And second half, it will start at 2 p.m. sir, and there will be 2 parts of 90 minutes each, and in between there will be a 30-minute gap, sir. I request everyone to kindly attend somehow, because I mean they have a very good presentation and they have lined up their best resources. So let us try to grab to the extent possible. And now that we have already gone through air interface, 5G core, quality of service, so we will be able to understand and perhaps fire more and more questions. Some of the questions which even today I could not give you concrete answer, even that can be asked tomorrow from them, so that we get an idea whether they know or they do not know. But anyway, we'll try and ask that question. So thank you, sir. Shall we close now? Thank you. Thanks a lot.